Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the first week of what I'm calling Summer Crush About. It's July. It's fucking hot. I don't want to overthink wine. I just want to get something that's delicious, that I want to drink cold. I just want to drink poolside. These are all just really delicious. Exactly what I want to be drinking this month is basically what it is. Honestly, just selfishly speaking, these are all the wines that I wanted to drink, and I'm just taking you guys along with me. But they all have little personalities, little things about them, just to keep them not interesting and just a pounders. But yeah, this month is all about just a pure hedonistic pleasure of drinking wine. So let's not get crazy, but yeah, that's all it is. They're usually, first week of the month, I usually go over name pronunciation, rules, and all of that, but there are no new members this month. So I'll skip all of that in interest of not making this go longer, especially, today being the Independence Day Eve. I'm not sure how many people are going to join or not join, so we'll see. Case Club goes live tomorrow, so the email will go out tomorrow. So these are all the. Oh my God! See, it's too hot. My brain's not working. What do we drink last month? Binary box, non-binary box. So all the non-binary wines that we tasted last month, that will all go on there. I taste some really other banger wines from championship bottles, so I'll put those on there on the Case Club as well from Saul Muchnick, who was a guest speaker last month. But yeah, so that will all go out tomorrow. So keep your eye out for that if you're interested. Just to put it on your radar, in case you haven't heard, not next week, but in 2 weeks after the tasting on the 17th, I'm probably heading out to Korea for about a month. So I will have about 12 to 13-hour time difference between your time and my time. So in case the response seems a little delayed, just know that I'm out there. That's what's happening. I will all the tastings will go on as planned. I will be joining you live from out there. So we'll be drinking a bottle of wine with you all at like fucking 7:30 in the morning, which is great. So yeah, things I do for you all. And one more thing, because of all of that, also, I am trying to wrap up all the enrollment and get all the wines and everything wrapped up and ready to go before I leave for Korea, which means that Monday, the week that I'm leaving, that Monday is when the invoice goes out. So it's the enrollment cutoff is going to be really short this week or this month. I'm talking about like as soon as it goes out on the 15th, I'll probably start hitting you up, possibly on the 15th, if not definitely on the 16th, about whether you're joining or not. So if you are planning on joining, please take care of those invoices right away. If not, then just let me know so I can get those things all wrapped up and ready to go. So I don't have to worry about those things while I'm Korea. Okay, that's it. And last but not least, 6 Foot Wine Club is committed to donating 1% of its revenue to an organization whose mission statement aligns with its values. And with this month, we're donating to World Central Kitchen. You guys are all familiar with the World Central Kitchen and the work they do. So I don't need to talk more about them, but if you want to donate alongside 6 Foot Wine Club, the donation link is right there. If you want to check out their website, it's right there as well. Any questions about anything I just went over? By the way, next month, the theme, it's hilarious that it is the first week of the month, but I'm already telling you about the theme next month, and you guys all saw that email that I accidentally sent out, but it's going to be Spanish Basque Country. Actually, it's going to be a Basque Country. So it's probably going to be mostly Spanish Basque Country with one or two French Basque Country thrown in there as well. So Basque Country in general, probably more Spanish. So expect a lot of like chocolatey Spanish Basque cider, some French Basque red wine, things like that. So all about Basque Country next month. Any questions before we move on to the wine? Excellent. Well, if you're joining us now, we're tasting this guy. The white label with a bunch of fish on the label. 2022 Croix, Gratiot, Brechallune, Picpoul de Pinet. I know the pronunciation is horrendous, but you know, it's a lot of French words there. All right, so let's start with the map. La la la. Where are you? Where are you, map? There you go. All right, French map looks familiar, right? I feel like we've been going to Languedoc quite often. We went there twice last week as well, but we're going back to Languedoc because you know what, Languedoc is awesome. I love Languedoc wines. So, anyways, we're back here, in the southern part of France, right up against the Pyrenees Mountains along the Mediterranean Ocean, right up against the Spanish border, right? Roussillon being this region in the south, right up against Spain, more north or east right here, northern Montpellier is the Languedoc portion. As the name even suggests, Languedoc-Roussillon. This is a very interesting, even culturally, historically speaking. It was a very autonomous kind of a region, kingdom for a while. The Aquitaine, the Occitane language, it's a completely different language existed here, completely different culture and history, and all of that exists here. So pretty interesting area, but you know, just like everywhere else, pretty much in all of Western Europe, really the viticulture here started with the Romans. The Romans are the who brought it here, started propagating Vinifera vinifera, and then that's how we started. But as you can imagine, being right along the Mediterranean coast, there's a lot of the climate here is very Mediterranean. What that means in terms of wine growing, when you hear Mediterranean climate, we say that a lot, Mediterranean climate, continental climate, you know. Mediterranean climate just means it is warm in the summertime and mild in the wintertime. Very good example of Mediterranean climate in the US would be California. Right? It doesn't get super cold in the winter. Obviously, more higher you go in the elevations, it snows. So we have like Mammoth Mountains and Lake Tahoe, right, where it snows enough to even hold Winter Olympics. But along the ocean, the coast, and then most of the rest of California it's quite mild in the wintertime, right? And the summer is quite warm and sunny. It's pretty dry and arid, and the rain comes in the wintertime, which is a pretty similar thing that happens here. Even in Languedoc-Roussillon here, we are looking at, sorry, if you look further in, this is what it looks like, what the region looks like. Right, I mentioned as Roussillon over here, Languedoc in the northeast. So Pyrenees runs right here, right? This is a Spanish border that separates Spain and France. But there's also a mountain range that runs up on the top. So there's a lot of elevation change that can happen from all the way from the coast going all the way up into the mountains. And that's part of what makes Languedoc and Roussillon interesting and exciting, is that not only do you have this really varied soil type that exists all the way across, and you also see a lot of beautiful combination of clay and limestone combination that happens here. But you see granite, you see volcanic, you see all kinds of soil type that pop up here. So between that, all those various soil types, this elevation change, the Mediterranean sea breeze, maritime influence, all of that, it really makes for a really, really amazing place to grow grapes for viticulture, because there's really no problem, no challenge with the ripening of the grapes. There's plenty of sunlight, it's plenty warm enough, sugar development is great, flavor development is great, phenolic ripeness is not a problem. It's really, really a beautiful place to grow grapes. But also because of that elevation, you can also get that diurnal shift, cooler nights, so you can retain all that acidity and all that stuff. So really cool place. And for the longest time, because this was a mass kind of a produced wine territory, and nobody really paid attention to Languedoc-Roussillon as a quality wine producing region, the land price here is still affordable, or I should say reasonable. Of any of the major wine producing regions left in France, this is the only area that's left where if one wanted to come and buy land and actually plant their own vineyards and own land to farm, this is the only place that's still quite feasible, unless you come from trust fund or you've sold a few startups or whatnot. So yeah, there's a lot of young kind of natural winemakers, a lot of experimentation, a lot of new energy that's happening here, which is super exciting. So keep your eye out for it. The true challenge here is probably the global warming. It does get hotter. It is starting to get hotter and hotter here every year. I keep hearing how the harvest is getting sooner and sooner, but I mean, that's a global challenge, not just here. But that's probably the biggest challenge here. But outside of that, again, really, really almost perfect kind of a place to grow grapes. So within all of this in Languedoc, right, we were in the Fougère last week of the last month, right, with that the Club Allemand et Blanc et Noir, right, just out of Fougère. But now we're coming down towards the Mediterranean, and we're right here in this little orange region called Picpoul de Pinet. As you see, there's a river that runs all the way through here to the west of it, dumps into the Mediterranean Ocean. It's quite close to the Mediterranean Ocean. So a lot of sea breeze. Again, all that perfect Mediterranean climate that I'm talking about exists here. Even within this Picpoul de Pinet, within it, and this map doesn't notate it, it's not detailed enough. There's a single smaller region, smaller appellation. So Picpoul de Pinet itself is an appellation. So you'll find plenty of wines out there that says Picpoul de Pinet AOP. But within Picpoul de Pinet, there's also a smaller sub-region, smaller sub-appellation called Brechallune. So if you look at the back of the label, it says right there, Brechallune. That is the actual AOP for this wine. But just know that that is a smaller, more specific kind of an appellation within Picpoul de Pinet. So what is Picpoul de Pinet? So Picpoul de Pinet is the only Languedoc appellation in all of Languedoc-Roussillon that is dedicated solely to dry white wine production. So anytime you see Picpoul de Pinet on the label, you can be assured that it is a white wine. If you ever see a rosé, sparkling, or red wine under the Picpoul de Pinet AOP, something went wrong. That is not what it's supposed to be. Yeah, it's a white wine. But in general, the way I think about Picpoul is, or Picpoul de Pinet, I should say, is, like Portugal has Vinho Verde, right? Loire has Muscadet. Veneto has Pinot Grigio. Every country, every region, these kind of regions have that kind of very neutral, like not necessarily characterful white wine that is just really all about large consumption. Get it really as cold as possible, get it as neutral, and just drink. It's like a white wine, essentially, right? Really refreshing, right? It's delicious when it's cold, when it's hot outside, but really not much personality to think about. Well, Languedoc has Picpoul de Pinet, and that's exactly what that is. It is oftentimes picked early for, by the way, Picpoul de Pinet is the name. Picpoul is the actual name of the grape, so Picpoul Blanc. It's an ancient Languedoc indigenous variety that grows all over southern France. It actually grows all the way from Rhone. In fact, Picpoul Blanc is one of the blending grapes that are allowed in Châteauneuf-du-Pape. The percentage of going in there now these days is very small, but you can blend some Picpoul into Châteauneuf-du-Pape. So it goes all the way from Rhone, all the way to Languedoc-Roussillon, goes all the way into Catalonia in Spain as well. So it kind of grows all through the Mediterranean coast, but where this is exactly kind of where it originated. It has three kind of different subspecies. There's a Picpoul Blanc, Picpoul Noir, Picpoul Gris, just kind of like Pinot Noir, Pinot Gris, Pinot Blanc, right? It's just the same species that's been kind of bred over time to be either white grape, black grape, or kind of the gray grape Gris, right? Which is kind of in between blush grape. So it has all three of those things. But Picpoul Blanc is Picpoul Blanc is definitely the most popular, most grown, and most produced as well. All the other ones are usually not a varietal wine. Picpoul Noir particularly is usually a blending grape. Not usually, you rarely see that as a varietal thing. But Picpoul de Pinet or Picpoul Blanc, you see that as a varietal wine all the time, because the Picpoul de Pinet, which is a dry white wine territory, produces like super high acid, super crisp, citrusy, dry white wine. So again, like a Vino Verde, Pinot Grigio, all those things. If you're ever just on a random store and you just want a white wine that you want to drink cold, Picpoul de Pinet is an excellent option. The naturally the grape Picpoul has really high acid. In fact, the name Picpoul de Pinet roughly translates to stings the lip or lip sting due to its searing acidity. So expect a lot of acidity in this wine, as you normally should. But like I mentioned, it's usually made in a stainless steel tank, picked early for that really refreshing, high acid, crisp, dry wine. But this one is a little different. We'll talk about it when we get to how it's made, but this is in some aging and amphora and Sman is picked a little bit later. This is by far the most kind of nuanced Picpoul that I've ever had, actually ever in my life. That's part of the reason I picked it. Normally, as much as I like Picpoul as like a pool wine, like it's not something that like I get excited about, but this wine excited me when I tasted it. So I just want to share this with you today. All right, so who makes this wine? There you go. It's a La Croix Gratiot is the name of the winery. It's picked. They're right in the heart of Picpoul de Pinet that you saw on the map. It is farmed and owned and managed by these two. It's a father and daughter combo. Yves and Anne are their names. Yves and Anne Ricon. Some of the pictures. Why don't I? Can I pull it up? Here's another picture. Yeah, super cute. Super cute. Dad and daughter combo. Here's the actual domain where it's made. So yeah, like even though it's a super close to the ocean, there's a lot of kind of woods and forests around it. You see some of these shrubs over here that are grown over here, like these shrubs right here. So these are what's called garrigue. So in all through Languedoc and Roussillon as well as Rhone, there's these kind of wild shrubs called garrigue that grows everywhere. It's like a wild thyme, lavender, rosemary, all those things. And the wines from these regions, Rhone, Languedoc, Roussillon, even some Catalonian wines as well, they all are known to have this garrigue character. Again, it may be a power of suggestion, who knows, actually is true, but a lot of people think that a lot of wines, particularly like a Southern Rhone wines, has that little bit of like a wild thyme, lavender, that kind of thing going on. And they think that, just because this is what's around it, it's affected by garrigue that goes in around there. So every time you hear somebody talk about garrigue, that's what they're talking about, these shrubs, wild shrubs of rosemary, thyme, lavender that grows everywhere. But yeah. So dad and daughter combo, it's a story of just people, the family that has owned land and farmed grapes for multiple generations. Dad, Yves, took it over, was farming it. Then in 2004, he and his brother decided to actually build out the cellar and make wines themselves. So up until then, they were great farmers. But starting from 2004, La Croix Gratiot was born, and they started making their own wine. At the beginning, it wasn't really like an organic operations, but he was interested, but he was never fully committed to organic. Then he just kept experimenting more and more and more. And then starting in 2009, they went full organic. And then starting from 2012, they actually got a full biodynamic. They are fully certified organic property Even though they practice biodynamic, they're not certified biodynamic. They're certified organic. However, starting from 2012, all of their vineyards are farmed biodynamically. So we're talking about non-certified biodynamic, certified organic grapes that have gone into this. And you know, it's a story of, you know, all the things that we like here, which is, you know, people who think that great wines are made first and foremost in the vineyards. And so they pay a lot of close attention to their farming, really beautiful grapes, and all of that. His daughter, Anae, joined the family practice in 2012. Yeah, and all that organic certification was actually the daughter's work. So yeah, now she continues on the family tradition, working alongside her dad. So what is this wine? This is 100% certified organic, but biodynamic brand, like I said, Picpoul from a single parcel. So we're talking about very small plot of land. We're talking about France, right? First, then it gets smaller into Languedoc-Roussillon. From Languedoc-Roussillon, we'll get smaller into Picpoul de Pinet. Even within from the Picpoul de Pinet, we get even smaller to Brechallune. And within that Brechallune, we're talking about a single vineyard, single parcel of wine. So we're talking about very, very specific kind of expression from that land. So yeah, very, very limited geographical destination for this bottle of wine. Talked about all the Picpoul block, what that means. Like I mentioned, they pick their grapes a little bit later than most people. A lot of people that Pinet is just a mass-produced, picked early, just really for the acidity, not really much of personality, but they let it hang longer, so it ripens a little bit longer, which means it develops more flavor, a little more complexity, a little more body as well. Spontaneous fermentation in 30% amphora and 70% concrete vats, and then all the wines go into concrete vats and they're aged there on lees for 5 months. So that all of that is quite different from the typical Picpoul that you see, which is again stainless steel, picked early as soon as it's done fermenting. Essentially, there's no aging, no extended lees aging, and then it's just bottled and sold off. So the fact that they put additional 5 months of aging on this, there's a extended lees aging, and then they're using cement tank and an amphora on this thing is a pretty unique thing for Picpoul. And I think it shows. I think you see the difference here. But while retaining all the kind of that citrusy touch of floral, ripping acid, all of that, but there are a lot more nuances and complexity and depth and body and texture here, which is what I really respect. One last thing before we get to tasting, the label design. I'm told that all this was actually drawn by Anae's daughter. So yeah, she drew these fish and then she colored them. So some of you may have fish that has a color that go outside the line because, you know, it's a child that's coloring. So there you go. Any questions about the wine or anything I just went over before we get into a tasting? Oh, and speaking of before we get to tasting, pairing as well as perhaps the label design may suggest. This is a Picpoul in general is a classic seafood oyster pairing. So anytime you are doing a crab boil, picking crabs, eating oysters, peeling any shrimp, anytime you're doing seafood, just this would be an excellent pairing for that. All right. Any questions?
Those shrubs, sorry, I put this in the chat. Those shrubs that you mentioned, are those basically like herbs de Provence?
Like it's yeah, essentially. Yeah. It's like thyme, rosemary, lavender. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of grows all over. Like if you ever go there, like drive on the highway going from like Provence to Rome to Languedoc, like you literally see it on the side of the freeway, just like growing wildly. Any other questions? Cool. Let's taste it. Since we don't have to teach any new people, we can take turns like we normally do. All right, who wants to take the appearance? Come on.
I'll go.
All right.
All right. So it's definitely clear, I think.
It's clear. Sure.
I would say like medium intensity.
Okay.
Ours is kind of like a not totally gold, but kind of like a lemony gold.
Yeah. I think this is like I don't know if I want to go all the way medium. Yeah, maybe medium, like a medium minus medium gold, like maybe pale gold, deep yellow kind of thing. But yeah, there's definitely some like a goldish hue to it. It's not just yellow for sure.
Yeah, there's something kind of like it's like a richness of the color. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't have any other observations. Ours is really crisp,
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah. Very clear. No flocculation, no deposits, nothing. No signs of bubbles, none of that. Cool, cool. You got to pick the next person for the nose.
Let's see. Julia, you want to go?
Sure, we can go. Danny gonna help? Is Dottie gonna help? Is our cat gonna help? Probably
Sorry,
not.
what'd you say, Julia?
I was asking if our cat was gonna help too, because she's being kind of an asshole right now.
Okay.
She's not gonna be helpful.
All right, nose.
Okay, this is clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is clean. This one is sound. Density?
Mine might be
Medium
on the
plus.
cold side. I'd actually
I get it like
I'd say medium.
I get it over here.
Yeah, I get it. The future's not.
Yeah, I would say medium plus.
Yeah,
I
I'm
guess
gonna
it's
go with a
equal.
medium plus myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's aromatic. I get like 2-3 inches off the glass. So yeah, I'm gonna go with a
Yeah.
medium plus. Aromas. Ooh.
Um,
We've established I don't know what flowers smell like. I have no idea.
I mean, there could be some honeysuckle in there.
Yeah. There's a touch of like a florality here, and that's a pretty common thing with a Picpoul.
Yeah.
Like a touch of, some people say acacia, honeysuckle, jasmine.
I don't
Yeah.
know what acacia is, so
Yeah. But yeah, definitely some touch of like a florality,
yeah.
for sure. Any green fruit?
Maybe, I mean, not really, maybe gooseberry.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
Yeah.
I don't get a lot
Yeah.
of green
Yeah.
fruit here for me.
Again,
Maybe.
as we've discussed, grapes should not be allowed on this list, but we're moving on. that.
I mean, if you ever get muscat, some muscat
Yeah,
can
obviously
smell
it
like
smells
grape.
like rain, but
Yeah, to me, I mean, maybe you can convince me there's some yellow apple, but it really is, to me,
Yeah,
it doesn't really come across as green fruit. It's more
yeah,
citrus.
exactly.
All right,
Yeah.
so citrus fruit.
Yeah, I mean, it's lemon, it's grapefruit,
Mhm.
lemon peel.
Yeah, again, do you guys know what pomelo is? It's that fucking gigantic, like a grapefruit cousin that is like a milder grapefruit. Again, like a little bit of that like grapefruity pomelo-y kind of a thing going on here. Lemon for sure. I think you're dead on with it. But also like, I don't know, like to me, the citrus here is interesting here. Like I get some of that pomelo, I get lemon. I guess some of that maybe like kumquat, like a little like zesty, orangey kind of a thing. But yeah,
Yeah,
a few different citrusy kind of a notes here, nuances that I get here.
I do agree with that yellow apple call you said before.
Yeah.
I get a little bit of that.
Yeah. Cool. Any stone fruit?
Not,
Maybe like white peach or something, like a.
it was, yeah, I mean, it'd be
Maybe.
really subtle
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, exactly. To me, there are a few things here, like a green fruit and stone fruit. Maybe you can convince me. There's a little bit
Right.
of that.
Yeah,
To me,
but it's
there's-
really citrus,
yeah.
yeah.
To me, it's mostly citrus, touch
There's
of
some
floral
tropical
here.
in there maybe.
What's that?
I get some tropical, like I get some
Oh.
passion fruit.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you mentioned some what would you say earlier? Gooseberry, but yeah, passion fruit, gooseberry, like a similar that kind of a thing. Okay. Obviously no red fruit, black fruit, nature of the fruit.
It's fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right. Yeah,
Fresh, ripe.
yeah.
There's- yeah. There's it doesn't strike me as overripe, it doesn't strike me as underripe. It's just like really fresh, really ripe, and all that. Any herbaceous, any green, herbal, spice, anything?
I mean, maybe if I'm like trying, I could say there's like some eucalyptus or something, like if I like, but also that's maybe just when you stick your nose that close to alcohol, like, but
I mean, to me, whenever you pick out things like passion fruit and gooseberry, there's always a little bit element of green to me.
yeah,
Like gooseberry and passion fruit has a little bit of that like herbaceous green kind of a note. So if anything, yeah, I get that. Not necessarily like a grass, a plant.
right.
Doesn't matter for me.
It's like there's
But-
something that makes it a little like fuzzy or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely nothing super herbaceous, herbal, even spice, anything like that. Maybe except for that passion fruit, that little fuzzy green kind of a thing you're talking about. Any rockiness, minerality?
Not that I really get on the nose.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, not a whole lot. Maybe like a little less stone, but yeah, not whole lot. Doesn't strike me as like a super minerally thing in the nose at least. All right, so we've covered some floral, maybe touch of green and stone fruit, so ever so faint, but we really dug down into citrus fruit, all the different kind of a citrus fruit, grapefruit, lemon, all these things. You picked out some passion fruit, some of that kind of green herbaceous maybe thing comes through, a really fresh, really ripe. Yeah, and that's what we got going on. Cool. You get to pick the next person for the palette.
We could do Kelly.
Kelly, you paying attention?
Are you cutting a cantaloupe?
I thought she was making, I wasn't sure if it was cantaloupe or spaghetti squash.
I am cutting melon and making a chocolate sandwich for my child. Yes, I taste this wine.
You want to taste it? Are you deep in the prep?
The Hawaiian rolls. I'm good. I'm good. You're on my.
You'll be like a cantaloupe. This smells like cantaloupe.
It does. It does. And compost.
And compost. Perfect. All right, palette. Take us through from the top.
Oh, it would be really good with oysters. Let's see. Can't see. It's dry. Good acidity. Medium.
Yeah, medium.
Medium.
It hits me. It took me a while to get there. The acid is definitely there, but it's not like a really sharp comes at you once. I'm gonna go with the medium plus on this thing, but yeah, it's not as like abrasive as you would normally find with a Picpoul. Like Picpoul, like most Picpoul, if you got a glass, like immediately you know how sharply acidic it is. Tannin, obviously, we don't have to talk about alcohol.
I feel like there's some alcohol in here. Like 12, 13?
Yeah, I was gonna say like 12.5. 12.8. They're quite precise. So yeah, that puts us right in the medium. So
All right.
medium alcohol, body.
You like medium?
Yeah, it's definitely got some weight to it. Like this is not for something that is, coming from a Mediterranean ocean with a high acid, you don't expect it to have this kind of like the richness or like a body, but there's some weight. Yeah, I'm gonna call it medium. Usually Picpoul, we're talking about like medium minus, very, very light bodied, and then something just high and dry and crisp. But again, because all that late harvesting, a little bit higher alcohol, which also reduces a little bit of the acid, but it builds out this complexity in the body and all of that. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the medium body of this thing as well. Musa, we don't have to talk about flavor intensity.
I mean, I'm gonna go again with medium, medium plus.
Yeah, to me, it's not as on the nose. To me, it was very clearly medium plus. On the palate, it's somewhere between medium plus for like. Obviously, as this warms up, I'll probably get closer to medium plus. But right now, it's somewhere between medium plus. So being generous, let's call it medium plus. But if you call it medium, I think it's totally understandable. Yeah, it's not as obvious as it was. Flavor characteristics. Do you agree with the things that Julia and Dan called out? Right, other things?
Yes, I feel like on the palate, like citrus, like I feel like your call of the pomelo. I really get that more of like the grapefruity, but not like overwhelming.
Yeah. All right. So, do you get any floral here?
I got a little on the nose,
Yeah.
but I'm not.
It's ever so slight. Just a layer of like florality. I still do get a little bit of that like honeysuckle, acacia, that kind of thing. And again, we said maybe a yellow apple here, but yeah, to me, this is all about citrus. This is all about pomelo, that lemon and zest, lemon flesh, all of it. There's quite a bit of citrus on this thing. I don't know why my mind keeps going to that kumquatty kind of a thing. That really like tart orange kind of a thing. But yeah, there's some of that pomelo, lemon, kumquat, that kind of thing for me. Dan called out some white peach, something like that, perhaps. But again, really, we're talking about citrus. Anything else here? Tropical, fresh and ripe. Any of the non-fruit things or minerality?
No. I mean, I can always convince myself to taste wet stone.
Yeah.
But that's it, I think. Really, this hits me.
Yeah, I get I get a little bit of that like a wet stony. It's also a textural thing. Again, that limestone kind of a thing, that tension that has in the wine. I get a little bit of that, more so on the palate than I do on the nose. So yeah, a little bit of that kind of wet stone. And this may be just power of suggestion. I do think there's a bit of like a salt at the end. There's a little bit of a briny finish on this thing.
Yeah.
Just knowing that it's next to the ocean, all the sea breeze that's coming in. So a little bit like the salted lemon kind of a vibe. Any secondary, any tertiary?
Sorry. Getting a call. Oh, am I there?
Yep.
Oh. No.
Yeah. No yeast, no MLF, no oak. Obviously all very fresh. It's too young to do any of that. People, you wouldn't see it anyway. So yeah, we are really talking about all the primary things here. All right, the length. How long is the finish?
I would say that there's like medium plus, like sticks around. I don't know.
Yeah, this again, what is on the, it's kind of like the how I felt with the concentration on the palate. It's like somewhere between medium plus. Being generous, I'll go with the medium plus, but yeah, somewhere in there. All right, conclusions. Take it on for us. How good is this? And
I think it is definitely good.
I mean, let's talk about it. Is
Yeah.
it balanced? Is this balanced to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I don't. There's nothing that's sticking out here for me. I think everything is pretty harmonious. 2, concentration. We call medium plus on the nose. You call like medium, somewhere between medium to medium. I call somewhere between medium plus. You call it medium. So we're talking about somewhere between medium plus on the palate, medium plus on the nose. So that's concentration. Somewhere between medium palates. Complexity. What would you call that?
Yeah. Medium.
Yeah, right. We had some citrus. We had quite a bit of different citrus, but we maybe some floral, maybe a touch of white peach, touch of yellow apple, but really we're talking about citrus, a little flower, and some minerality like wet stone, but really not much going on here. So medium, I think, is an excellent call. And then the length, you called it.
Medium plus.
Yeah, somewhere to medium plus. So we're balanced. We got medium to medium plus concentration, medium complexity, medium to medium plus length. So when you take average of all of that, what do you end up?
Good to very good.
Yeah, somewhere between good and very good, depending on where you are. It's not squarely in very good, but it's maybe a little bit above good. So depending on how generous you're feeling, it could be anywhere between good or very good. And would you age this?
I mean, I guess I would, you could maybe, I don't know that if I would.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Picpoul in general is not meant to be aged. Just like Vino Verde, just like Pinot Grigio, just like Muscadet, it's not really meant to be aged. It's just meant for fresh consumption, you know, oysters, seafood, you know, it's like a sprinkling lemon on top, just really citrus driven, dry white wine. You know, given the medium plus acidity, some of the concentration that we have going on, I don't think it's necessarily going to fall apart. But the whole point of this wine is to be, for it to be fresh and youthful. So I wouldn't age it personally. I would say drink this now. Maybe drink it over next year or two. But yeah, don't age it for the reason of building complexity, because that's just silly. Why would you do that? Excellent, good job. So this is kind of like, actually, just by show of hand, how many of you guys are familiar with Picpoul de Pinet? How many of you had Picpoul de Pinet before? Allison? Dan? Really? No one else has a Picpoul? Interesting. So for those of you who've had it, you probably know what I'm talking about. But for those of you who haven't had it, this is not typical Picpoul. So when you get a very typical Picpoul, it is I mean, it's literally lemon, acid, and that's about it. A little bit of alcohol. Like that's about it. Like it's really, really simple wine. And I'm not shitting on it. Like it's just not very interesting, but it's not meant to be very interesting. It's just meant to be a really easy drinking, you know, by the seaside, by the beach, on a seafood shack kind of wine. This one, they're trying to do something a little bit different, and which I find it really interesting. I think it still holds on to all that freshness, all that lemon, citrus, acid, but the fact that it has a little more body, it has a little more depth. You know, we talked about minerality, a little brininess, different things, maybe passion fruit even thrown in there, some stone fruit and all of that. Like all those little layers is very different from the normal thing. And that's the kind of the wines that I was trying to feature this month, which is if you wanted to drink it, if you wanted to pound it, it's perfect, right? Like if you chill this down, if you drink it out of the bottle, I think this wine will go down very easy and it will be satisfying. But there's just enough nuance there where if you want to kind of sit there and kind of pick it apart a little bit there, you could also, right? And that's the whole point of all the wines that I'm pulling up this month is that if you don't want to think about it, you can't. But if you do want to think about it, that there's a little bit of complexity. It's the whole point of this wine. So I thought this kind of fit in perfectly with that wine. But for those of you who never had Picpoul, go grab yourself It's not expensive. It's quite cheap actually. Next time you're in a shop, ask for Picpoul de Pinet. It's a perfect thing for the winter. Next time you get oysters, and taste it so you can tell the difference between this and what you have. But yeah, I think this is again the most characterful, the best Picpoul I've ever had. Because a lot of times it's quite boring to tell the truth. And it's meant to be boring in a good way. So just out of curiosity, how many of you guys like this one? How many of you guys did not like this one? Allison, are you shaking your head? Like, maybe, huh? So.
Yeah, to me it tasted like my bottle tasted like it had been open a day too long and had kind of like lost sort of the notes above and below. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like the wine from Ovum that we get, like I find it so like the Big Love and I forget the other one that we had, but like the first night you open it, it's like got like so much crazy stuff going on, and then I find like the next day it's like fine, but it's like it's sort of muted, smoothed out, and the excitement is gone. And that's kind of how I feel like with mine. And I almost wonder if like I just got like a bottle that didn't like, I don't know, wasn't as good or something, because I'm like hearing what y'all were describing and I can like imagine that being the case, but I am not experiencing it. Or maybe I have COVID, hard to say.
Maybe you have COVID. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, compared to Ovum, I think this is a lot more, in general, like a lot of French sensibility, which is a lot more kind of subtle and nuanced in a way. It's not as in your face. But also, yeah, if you were not, I think it's worth at least trying another bottle. So next time I see you, we'll try another bottle and see if it feels the same.
Perfect. Excellent.
Interesting. I'm surprised. I thought some people were gonna be like, man, it just tastes like white wine. I'm like, that's exactly the point. Like it's supposed to taste like white wine, but like just enough like the nuances there to kind of like give you something. Any questions about anything? Yeah, you mentioned some tropical fruit. People are mentioning some tropical fruit. All that is a very, very rare thing for Picpoul. So that's what I'm talking about. The fact that we're throwing out tropical fruit, stone fruit, and debating whether it does exist. Like that is not what you would think about. It's like imagine like you got a bottle of you know, Santa Margherita Pinot Grigio. That's actually a bad example because that one is actually somewhat better Pinot Grigio, like a typical middle of the run Pinot Grigio. Like imagine sitting there for debating, like, is there a tropical fruit here? Is there a stone fruit here? What are the layers of minerality in here? Like that'd be an insane conversation to have because like who gives a shit? It's Pinot Grigio, you know what I mean? But anyways, I'm gonna stop hating on Pinot Grigio. I'm going to be honest with you. We always pound it. All right, there you go. I mean, I love it. Yeah. All right, let's play everybody's favorite game. How much do you think this wine is, and how much would you be happy paying for this in a retail store? Mm-hmm. 23, 21, 24, 2025, 18, 22. Okay. All right. 25, 18. All right. So, I mean, I thought it was a little, no, that's not true. I thought you guys were going to blow it a little bit lower on this thing anyway. So this would be 27 in a retail store, which is, it's not expensive, 27, but for Picpoul, it is more expensive than what you were used to. Picpoul, you'll find it anywhere between, yeah, like 18, 15 to like 22. So the fact that there's a $28 bottle, $27 bottle, you know, is it worth it to you? To me, it's a $5 difference, right, between a 22 and a 27. To me, I would definitely, I think $5 is definitely worth the difference between a run-of-the-mill Picpoul and this. But you know, it sounds like many of you have not tried like run-of-the-mill Picpoul, so you be the judge. You go out there, check it out, get yourself a bottle of Picpoul next time you're out at a store, and then see if the paying $5 more for a little more complexity, a little more nuance is worth the cost for you. I think it is. I would much rather $5 more for that. It's $1 more per glass, if you ask me. This is the kind of stuff that like I would upsell the shit out of in a restaurant. Like, you know, this would be like, you want to get that Picpoul, or I can pour you this for $1 more, but it is so much better. Like it's like, so it's that kind of stuff. So, all right, any questions? Excellent, excellent. Cool. Now let's drink some wine and hang out. I'm gonna close the recording.